sad, and all because you won't come back. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm all alone, the lonely one. I'm hurting. I'm all confused and all on fire. These thoughts of loneliness replace desire, and all of my days I'm crying, all of my nights just dying, sighing. I'm hurting, I'm hurting, I'm hurting. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm all alone, the lonely one, and all because you won't come back. I'm hurting, always hurting. Is this the way you make me pay? I'm hurting. I'm all confused and all on fire. These thoughts of loneliness replace desire. Oh, all of my days I'm crying, all of my nights just dying, sighing. I'm hurting, I'm hurting, I'm hurting.
Indeed, gentlemen. Time now for some music, so you can sit back and relax after that important message and just sort of enjoy the music of Lonnie Lee, who we've been featuring all this week. As you know, he's got a new album out called Don't Look Back. He's going to perform for us this morning. Low down feeling, Lonnie Lee, who's back bigger, bolder and more country than ever. Lonnie Lee, everyone.
It's in the late hours of the evening when I think of you the most, when this lonely man is sorry for the love that he has lost. And in the early morning, as the sun begins to melt the dew, I think of your sweet kisses and the love I had for you. It's in the late hours of the evening when time is standing still and thoughts of good time loving are all that I can feel. And when the sky is black and only moonshine filters through to me, I think of your sweet kisses and the love you had for me. Well, it's this low down feeling that I feel
Lonnie Lee, who's been featured all this week and done a great job too, is back with us this morning. Got a great song for you. Good rockin' tonight. Big welcome for Lonnie Lee.
You'll know what a mighty man I am. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight. I'm gonna have me here tomorrow behind the barn. Don't you be afraid, I'm gonna do you no harm. I want you to bring along my rocking shoes, cause tonight we're gonna rock away on my blues. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight.
Lonnie Lee, and he's been performing for us all week, and I'm going to tell you a little bit later in the show how you can win one of Lonnie's CDs for 5 people. I'll tell you how you can win a Lonnie Lee CD a little bit later in the show. But
The air conditioning too.
That's right, yeah.
The drying riser. Beth is this morning. Oh, hello.
Hello,
Beth.
Beth.
Wardrobe lady.
Yes.
Now, if you need anything
Lovely, thank you,
pressed.
Beth.
And are you fine? You have everything
Yes.
you need and pressed?
Thank you very much, yes, everything's
In order?
pressed. I've been pressed.
Well, we're sort of casual anyway, because he's only wearing just a white t-shirt and a nice top rather than have crinkly shirts and things.
Yeah, that's Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne.
Hello.
Alright, well, I'll go back. No,
Yes,
in the studio.
Nothing from us. Nice to meet you.
And you?
Oh, we are. We try to get it all done, otherwise it causes everybody else
That's good. Yeah.
problems.
That's good.
Oh, Brett, I'll see you too. Hang on. Hello.
There it is and out. Okay, we've got to decide what we're going into.
No, she's supposed to last year, but before that, she's the
George, just sit how you're going to sit. That's the reason you're going to go back to what that roughly.
Come in. What do you come into?
George, I can shoot. I can actually get it in.
Zoom in and lose the camera to get a feeling.
Intimacy.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Yep. Yes, that's right. Okay, replay on this.
The old man cried. The roots of Australian rock and roll television, and clearly one of the ABC's early attacks on the social fabric of this country. They might even get a reaction from somewhere. Some amazing faces there, even some amazing and not so amazing voices from the original bandstand family, but also included the likes of Cole Joy, Brian Davies, Sandy Scott and Little Patty. Well, another member of that original bandstand family is our guest on the couch, but before you meet the 2003 version, here he is the way a lot of Australians would remember it.
So the best thing on television.
Lonnie Lee, welcome.
Oh, you really think so? I move a little more. I'm a little more animated.
That was considered pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, well, yes, quite amazing. Like in my head, I was thinking I was moving.
Yeah.
Of course, just a little hand.
You've got to be bloody control yourself.
I know, exactly.
We talked about in that piece, which we watched together, and it was very nostalgic.
Oh, fun stuff. Great.
Those two programs, Bandstand and 6 O'Clock Rock, were so different, weren't they?
Yes.
And we got the categorisation right. That
No, you did.
Bandstand was a very family, and JOK and 6 O'Clock Rock was the wild side.
Yeah, so 6 o'clock rock was more like on the edge. You know, you went there, just like Pee Wee had said before, you really didn't know what was going to happen, you know, and we'd rehearse it in the afternoon, or about 10 o'clock in the morning, I think we'd have a rehearsal in the ABC,
And then
old
off the pub.
church, and then off to the pub, that's right, then off to the pub, and then we'd back down to ABC, I guess around about maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then we'd run through it once, 6 o'clock came, boom, ready or not, on the way, there you are, and that's why Jock forgot half the words half the time. You know, and who's this? What song am I singing? Only because there was so much happening. Whereas Bandstand, on the other hand, it would, in many cases, you'd record the music on the Wednesday. The Saturday you'd go do the show, and you'd be miming. So you weren't singing live.
Right.
So even if you didn't know the words, as long as you faked it. Okay.
I'm old enough to remember this stuff. I thought
Oh, sorry, George. Oh, shattered your dreams. Oh dear, but both of the shows were good. I mean, I enjoyed doing both shows. I think everyone that
Did you have to change your demeanour or your dress or your style?
No,
If you went from one to the other, or
No.
bigger mythology, I think.
Yes.
They all look pretty great.
Well, it was. I mean, looking at it from here, it was. But the edge was there then, in those days. Even I knew it. But I mean, look at me. Look how staid I was then. That's 6 o'clock rock. That's the wild one.
Dark suit,
So the
white
dark
shirt.
suit, that's right. Now, when I went to Bandstand, I didn't change at all. It was just me. I really didn't have to. If I was threw myself all over the place, which I'd get away with on 6 o'clock rock, I would have to clean myself up in Bandstand. But that's what
JOK was the wild aspect of
Yes.
6 o'clock
Yeah.
rock, wasn't
He was pretty much it. I mean, the songs were wild. Maybe that would be a difference also. we were allowed to sing songs that had a little bit more oomph in them, a little bit songs that were a bit more edgy, you know. But as far as well,
stuff. I mean, can you imagine? Well, compare that. Let's say, for argument's sake, from a historical perspective, that stuff to Eminem.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah.
What was edgy? What was it?
Well,
you say the word love, before the word love was...
Yeah, well, it wasn't even so much the words, it was the song itself. You know, if maybe there'd be some raspy stuff, or if you did like Tutti Frutti, for example, or Blue Suede Shoes, or any of those.
I often wonder whether Tutti Frutti had a...
No, over there it didn't, because we were the only ones that had the...
something that I missed.
No, sorry, no, you didn't miss anything at all. In fact, the Americans had come out sometimes, you know, some of the, doing the stadium, the American stars that we performed with, and different guys would say to them, well, you know what that means and all that, and they'd say, no, what it is, and they were quite shocked, because they didn't know the whole meaning.
Our friend from the Deltones, Peter, of course, Pee-wee did say that nobody realised, you guys didn't realise the power of television. Because that's what made it.
Yes.
The fact that television was the difference. Otherwise, you would have been doing 20 or 30 people.
That's
like
true.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, I started off in '57. I had my little band, and I kept going. Now, it wasn't until 1959 that I did TV.
But you started the same as TV, almost the same time as TV.
Exactly the same as TV. In fact, my first TV show was Sydney Tonight, which was, I think, one of the first TV shows in Australia, just going on performing. But nothing really happened. Just like I said, you can continue going on and doing 30 people, 50 people, 100 people. But as soon as one hit TVs, from my first TV show, things really changed. Within a month, I was recording. Within about 6 weeks, I was performing at the stadium with to 10,000 people, and it just went on and on and on.
It's possible to argue that the people like yourself would have disappeared into a blip.
Oh, true.
Without those sort of pressures.
Oh, I would say absolutely for sure. Now, in my case, I was performing way before TV, like Johnny O'Keefe was as well, and a couple of the others. But many of them, they actually started singing because of 6 o'clock rock. And so they didn't have a long lead up. But as soon as they did go on TV, things changed and they did become stars.
Right. We're doing you this favour actually by talking about you in the past, because you're still performing, you haven't stopped performing.
No. I went to America. I guess from an Australian point of view, a lot of people would think that, you know, where's he gone? But in '66 I went to England and Europe, so I performed there for a while. Then I went from there to back to Australia, went to America in '71, and I stayed there pretty much all the time. I came back a couple of times, but pretty much all the time until about 1984. Right. So
the Lee Men, they still exist.
Yeah, they still exist. Different guys, but the Lee Men itself was unfortunately 2 of the actual Lee Men have passed on now. But I still have Lee Men going now. We still do the same songs. We still perform to the big arenas and.
No plans to pull out a car.
Oh no. No, well, see, I got into it because I loved it. I didn't get into it to be successful, because successful to me was being on a stage singing. That was successful.
You wanted to be a star. You wanted to make a living doing it.
No, I didn't think it was possible to be a star. To me, somehow I didn't think of anything being a star. It was just I was singing and then performing, yeah. And then more jobs came, and then now I was on TV, and now I had a record. It was just something else. Extensions being a singer, and even now it's much the same. That's why I wouldn't give up. Because I'm doing what I love to do.
Terrific. And you look fit enough to keep going.
Thank you, George.
Well, by the 60s, early 70s, rock music was literally all over our television sets, as we've just been saying. Here on the ABC, we now had something called Hit Set.
Well, he spent many years in Nashville, Tennessee, writing with Roy Orbison at the height of his fame. Lonnie Lee had 8 national #1 hits. This true Aussie music legend is still making them dance in the aisles, and he'll be performing in Perth at the end of this month. Check out his website for details. But he's with us this morning. This is his latest single, Lonnie Lee with Can't You See It in My Eyes.
You ask me, did my lover hurt me? Can't you tell by the tears in my eyes? Can't you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you me, do I still remember how she held me in her arms when the night was so bright and stars were shining bright. Can't you see it in my eyes? Her kiss set a flame in my heart. Her love brought a feeling so sublime. And while I stood in this heavenly glow, she turned away and let me go. And still you ask me, do I love her? After all that's said and done, she's still the one. Can you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you see it in my eyes? Her kiss set a flame in my heart. Her love brought a feeling so sublime. And while I stood in this heavenly glow, she turned away and let me go. And still you ask me, do I love her? After all that's said and done, she's still the one. Can you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you see it in my eyes? Can't you hear it in my voice? Can't you see it in my eyes?
Oh, Lonnie, well done. Fantastic. What a wonderful Aussie. Go, Lonnie. Fantastic rock and roll from that time right up until now. It's good to see that. Okay, on mornings we move on. And I tell you, you cannot start a rock and roll show with some of the good old-fashioned stuff. And to kick it off, we want to welcome a terrific guy. He had more hits in the 50s and 60s than anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, live on mornings, Lonnie Lee and the Lehmans.
Everybody keeps on saying, what's the matter with me? Everybody keeps on saying, what's the matter with me? Ain't it so, ain't it so? I'm in love with you. Everybody keeps on saying, you don't treat me right. Everybody keeps on saying, you don't treat me right. Ain't it so, ain't it so? I'm in love with you. Starlight, star bright, shine down on me. Bring back my baby back home to me. First star I see in the heavens tonight. Bring back my baby to hold me tight. Well, I know this way that way down on the street, but I'll keep waiting until the day you come back to me. Starlight, star bright, won't you hear my plea? Bring back my baby is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I had an old love. She was a cold love, but I found a new love to last me all of my life. No more blues, no more fear, no more loneliness, no more tears. I found a new love. She is a true love, a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I found a new love. She is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my last, me all of my last, me all of my last. Well, do I need your tender kiss? Yes, indeed I do. Do I realize what I missed? Yes, indeed I do. Well, now do I cry? Yeah, yeah, till I cry. Yeah, yeah, over you. Yes, indeed I do. Would I trade? Yeah, yeah, all I've made. Yeah, yeah, just to have one more night with you. Oh, yes, indeed I do. Yes, indeed I do. Come on. Yes, indeed I do. Woo. Yes, indeed I do.
Oh, yeah, Lonnie Lee and the Lehmans.
Hello.
It's fantastic to see you
Glad to
again.
meet you.
And great rock and roll dancers. Were they good or what? Well, Lonnie, you and I are coming back for a bit of a chat with the boys from rock and roll, later the girls from rock and roll, but also some fabulous, hippest cars of the era. Stay with us on Mornings. Oh, thank you. Welcome back to Mornings, live from Rudy Hill, RSL. Come on down and join us. I'll tell you what Rudy Hill means very shortly. But you know, it really is considered the original rock and roll era, the golden age between, I think it's 1958 and 64. Shows like Bandstand, 6 O'Clock Rock, really ruled the television airways, and my next guests were the biggest names of the time. First up, we're going to meet some of the boys, then some of the girls, but you've already met him. Ladies and gentlemen, Lonnie Lee.
Hello.
Great to see you, Lonnie.
Thank you. Great to be here, especially, as you said, in really the heart of rock and roll, Sydney rock and roll.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about the television era, as I mentioned. 6 O'Clock Rock, Bandstand, that was the staple diet. Everybody watched it.
Wonderful.
What was the difference between the two shows?
The two? Okay, well, 6 O'Clock Rock was a live show. It was like what we're doing today. We've got a live audience and we're doing it straight to air, warts and all, whatever happens, doesn't matter, everyone's going to see it. So 6 O'Clock Rock was just like that. Whereas Bandstand was, there was a rehearsal, you'd had a rehearsal on maybe the Wednesday night, you'd record it, and then on Saturday, you'd mime it. So you'd already sung it before and you'd be miming it, you know, so the words would be, if you didn't know the words, if you were reading the words when you recorded it, and Saturday you forgot the words, that's why you'd see all the fumbling, you know. But,
a little bit of fluffing. Now,
yeah.
you know, clearly black and white in those days, but I mean, you know, it was a terrific time.
Oh,
this is
wonderful.
where we created some fantastic music.
Yes, absolutely. The era was, you know, everything's exciting today, I guess, because we have all the push buttons and the computers and all the gadgets and all that, but back then everything was raw and it was a first time. And of course, when we stop to think about it, the rock and roll that we take for granted so much now, it was brand new. Prior to that, as you know, there was really the 50s, you know, everything was easy and soft, and all of a sudden, bang, comes rock and roll. So we were all pumped up.
And in terms of Australian rock and roll, Johnny O'Keefe,
yes.
in your era,
yeah.
you worked with Johnny O'Keefe, in fact, with his show, because he hosted 6 O'Clock
6 O'Clock
Rock.
Rock.
He occasionally, like all of us in television, had a few lapses of memory.
Yeah.
Have a look at this.
We have a gentleman on the program that appeared with us once before to sing a song called, what's the name of the song? Only Love Me. Only Love Me. Let's welcome a cat who needs no introduction to the thing. We'll tell you a little more about him later.
I love that.
You know that guy, isn't it?
I love
isn't it
that.
incredible? You know, a guy called me because that was on, I think, One Way to the Top. They played that little clip again, and a guy called me and sent me a CD that was the guy eventually came on and sang it and sent me a CD, and he said, I'm still around, even though Johnny O'Keefe forgot me, I'm still around.
Oh, that was hysterical.
I know.
Now, we want to introduce some more of the main men of that rock and roll era.
It's 6 o'clock, come on everybody, it's time to rock Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, everybody knows just what to do. Turn your second chapter to Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, people got around from near and far to see their favorite TV star. Everybody singing and making it shout it out. You, come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Will you stop? Let's rock. Come on, everybody, come on.
For coming, but we're finishing with Lonnie Lee and the band. Y'all have a good time. Great weekend. See you Monday. Woo! Yay! Yeah!
Come along, baby, a whole lot of shaking going on. Come along, baby, a whole lot of shaking going on. We thinking, a whole lot of shaking going on. Come along, baby, we got chicken in the barn. Come along, baby, really got the bull by the horn. We thinking, a whole lot of shaking going on.
Well, the 1950s was a golden period in music. It was known as the Rockabilly era, and it was brought to life by the smooth vocals of Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash's deep ballads.
Me on your side, you give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you, I know I'd even try to turn the tide, because you're mine. I walk the line.
And Australia's answer to the rockabilly movement came in the form of Lonnie Lee. The smooth-sounding artist produced a string of hits, including Ain't It So and I Found a New Love. And 60 years later, Lonnie Lee is still rocking his way around Australia. We're very lucky he joins us live at the desk today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
60 years, it's a
Long
pretty
time.
long time to be doing it. What keeps you going?
I guess my love of it. the passion of singing. I still love singing, and that's what started me in the first place to do it. So I like that, and I still love the songs. That era is sort of embedded in me, so I still love all those easy listening songs and whatever. Yeah, just good. I'll never stop.
That's good. You can't stop. Everyone's got to keep going. It's awesome, Lonnie, because you've got to, you play great music, mate, so there's lots of fans for you. You broke into the music scene in the 50s. Elvis and Johnny Cash, as we saw, were really hitting their straps in the top charts. What was the Rockabilly era like?
Well, it was very new. It was very different. For us, we were just doing things that we loved. I guess just prior to the Rockabilly era, there was a very, very smooth 50s era. So everything was the crooners. And then when Rockabilly came in, which was just country sort of hepped up a little bit, it got to us because we were all young. We were just all teenagers ourselves. So that was all very, very exciting. And not only us as singers, it was new, but it was new to the audiences. And all the girls would go crazy and the guys. And it was just like the Beatles or the Elvis thing. It happened out here, the same thing. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't walk down George Street or Martin Place without being chased, and girls writing with lipstick all over our cars and everything. We love you and all that stuff.
Good times.
Very good times by the sound of it. You wrote for also some pretty big stars as well, including Roy Orbison. How did that come about?
Well, I was in Nashville. I went to Nashville in 1971, and I eventually lived there for about 9 years. And during that time, I was there as a songwriter. So I went to one of the publishing houses, Acuff Rose, which is one of the biggest publishing houses there. And the guy listened to my songs, and he said, "Oh, wow," he said, "I can hear millions of dollars in your songs and gold." So,
sounds good.
This is what a songwriter wants to hear, right? Anyway, I said, "Oh, that's fantastic." But he said, "I think the quickest way for it is maybe if we put you with somebody, a big international act, because you write international music." So I said, okay. He said, "Have you written with people before?" And I said, "No, never, just me." So he said, "Would you think about it?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I'll call you tomorrow and let me know." So anyway, he called me tomorrow and he said, "Would you like to write with Roy Orbison?" And I said, "Oh, you're joking." And he said, no, I'm serious. So that afternoon we got together and we spent about 10 hours getting to know each other personally, and found our chemistry was really, really fine. We had a lot in common, and so we spent the next maybe 2.5 years writing and doing lots of stuff together. I was his personal assistant there for some time as well.
Fantastic. While you were also in America, you lived next door to Johnny Cash. What was Johnny like?
Oh, he's a lovely guy. Very, very nice guy. And both of them, Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison. They're very gentle people, and very honest and true, and with a lot of integrity, and John, they were both sort of a little bit cheeky at times. John especially, because sometimes if I was out the front of Roy's place and it was right on the corner and it was all dirt, and he'd come in his caddy, and as soon as he'd see me up near the gate there, he'd step on the gas, come around the corner, and all the dust had come up and stones, and so I'd be smothered in dust, and he'd call back, "Gotcha,"
He really was a hellraiser, wasn't he?
He was, but a lovely guy.
Is there anyone you wish you could have worked with that you didn't? I mean, you've obviously come in contact with some pretty amazing, iconic people over the years.
I don't know. I suppose the only person that I don't know about work with, because he would have blown me into the sandpit, and that would be Elvis, I suppose. But no one really got to work with him except in the very, very early stages when he was a support act. But I never got to meet him. I was very close. I was invited to a party, and I couldn't get out of the jobs that I was at. I was in Illinois at the time, and I couldn't get down to Memphis, so I missed out.
I know we've talked a lot about America, Lonnie, but how does it make you feel when guys like Billy Thorpe and Bobby Lloyd, say that you inspired them in their music, Australian artists?
Yeah, well, that's really nice to hear that, because you feel that it wasn't all for nothing. Back in those days, of course, we didn't know that. We were just doing what we did. So it was quite a shock to me many years later when all these guys said, thank you, and you were the first record we ever bought, and the first person we saw on a show, and whatever. It's nice to hear, but I guess in a way it's a responsibility. But when it's someone like Thorpe or any of these guys, Normie Rowe or any of these guys, that they went to the top, and so if I inspired them just one tiny little bit, it obviously worked.
And you're still making music today, Lonnie. Well done. You've got a new record out, so all the best with it.
Thank
and
you
really
so
nice to talk to you today, mate.
Thank you. It's been
Real
my
pleasure.
Thank you.
For more information on where you can catch Lonnie Lee performing, just please head over to the Daily Edition website.
Well, today is our favourite day of the week. Not only is it the start of the weekend, it's also Flashback Friday.
And during his 5-decade career, Lonnie Lee worked with some of the biggest names in rock music and pioneered the Rockabilly movement in Australia.
Well, it's the one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, go, go.
In the 1950s, rock and roll was born.
Well, you can do anything but the help of my blue suede shoes.
And what followed was a golden period in music. The Rockabilly era was brought to life by the smooth vocals of Elvis Presley.
You still can find for broken-hearted lovers.
And Johnny Cash's deep, emotional ballads.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Australia's answer to the Rockabilly movement came in the form of Lonnie Lee.
Ain't it so, ain't it so, well, I'm in love with you.
The performer shot to fame in the 60s after singing Elvis's Heartbreak Hotel on radio. Lonnie went on to produce 8 hit singles, including Ain't It So and I Found a New Love. He's also collaborated with Roy Orbison and penned songs for Cher.
I found a new love.
With an impressive career spanning more than 5 decades, Lonnie is still rocking his way around Australia. And Lonnie Lee joins us now. Welcome to the show, Lonnie.
Thank you, Matt.
How was it for you seeing that old vision?
Oh, it's so funny. It really is, you know. And yet, strangely enough, I remember the times. You know, I can actually remember being there doing all that stuff.
What was it like during that era?
Oh, it was exciting. The main thing was it was exciting because it was all new, and it wasn't just new for us. It was new for the audiences. You know, we'd go out, and if we were on tour, and we'd go into the town, the girls and that would run out of the shops, leave their offices, and chase us down the street and write their names all over our cars with lipstick. The whole thing was just so exciting.
Oh, wow.
That happens to me some days.
Oh, does it, Matt?
I'm not going to tell you where my car is.
You talk about touring, and you did so with stars like Jerry Lee Lewis.
Mm.
But there was a story with Jerry Lee Lewis about
there
a bit of a falling out. What happened?
Well, actually, in those days, the big stars didn't have suites and all that like they have now. Everything was all together. So on this particular tour, I and Jerry Lee Lewis shared a room on the different places. And we shared the same seat when we were travelling in the bus or whatever. So in this particular time, we were in a bus, and he was next to me here, and he said, we're going through the country. And he said, Lonnie, he said, what do you think of the country? I said, oh, I just absolutely love it. I'm from the country. He said, yeah, he said, I'm from Memphis as well. He said, I just bought 13 acres. I said, oh, that's really wonderful. And he said, a couple of Cadillacs I just got as well. And I thought, oh, that's really tremendous. And he said, what about you? Have you been out to the country? I said, yeah, I'm from the country also. My parents have a sheep station. And he said, oh, really? How big is it? And I said, 7,000 acres. And he died. He got up out of the chair, nearly knocked his head off on the thing there and said, you F, and I mean, really went off his face. Because 13 acres to him, I guess it was as if I was putting him down, saying 7,000 acres. Anyway, we made up later on, and he paid me back because the deal was that we shared a room, and whoever woke up first would wake the other one up so we could catch the plane. I didn't wake up. He woke up, left me there. He caught the plane. I missed the plane, and so I didn't miss the next show, but I got there. But when I got in, he said, I got you.
He did get you.
And he did get me, yeah.
You've written some songs with some big stars, including Roy Orbison. How did that come about?
Well, I went to Nashville to try and see if my songs were going to be successful, because it's, you know, very, very difficult business, especially then. And this guy heard my songs and he said, look, I think I'll send you to a guy who we feel is going to take Nashville from country, traditional country, into pop music, and because the sales of traditional country are going down. So his name was Don Gant. So he said he's the general manager of Acuff Music. So anyway, he sent me to Don. Don listened to a few of my songs, about 5 or 6, and he said, wow, he said, I could hear gold in your songs. And of course, to a songwriter, you think, what, are you kidding? This is my first meeting, you know. And he said, have you ever written with anybody? And I said, no, I haven't. He said, would you like to? I said, I guess so. It depends if the chemistry and whatever. He said, okay, I've got something in mind, because your songs are really international, and I know an international writer as well. I'll call you tomorrow. Anyway, he called me tomorrow and he said, how would you like to write with Roy Orbison? Of course, I thought, oh, you're joking. He said, no, I'm serious. We've checked everything out. It's right. So he's arranged a meeting for Roy and I. So we had this meeting that ended up us being locked in the boardroom for 11 hours. But we got together for quite a number of
So many stories, and you've also lived next door to Johnny Cash. I mean, the stories just keep coming. You're touring now, though.
Yes, we're going all over the place. We're going right through Queensland. We go to the Tallangatta, to say it right, 50s Festival next weekend, and we're all over the place. That's just wonderful. I'm just so blessed to do what I'm doing, you know.
And still to be doing it.
Yeah, with my band. I got my own band, who are also my great friends, and so it's really, really wonderful. I am just so blessed. And I do feel sorry for some of these new guys coming along, you know, X Factors and all those different shows. There's not the future for them that I've been lucky enough to have, and people like my peers, you know, have had.
Oh, there may be. There's a few.
60 years.
One Direction, yeah.
We'll have to wait.
We'll see how One Direction is going in 60
I'll be 150.
Thank you, Lonnie. So nice to take that trip down memory lane with you. You can catch Lonnie Lee on tour. For all the details, head to our website.